Hello everyone! Welcome back to Doodling Through Education. For my CC students, we are talking about CC Cycle 3, Week 11, History. For everyone else, that just means that we're talking about the American Civil War. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you to go ahead and click that subscribe button so you never miss an episode of Doodling Through Education. And on that note, let's start doodling. The American Civil War was fought between the southern and the northern states of the United States. The southern states didn't want to be part of the United States anymore, and they had decided to make their own country. However, in the beginning, the northern states wanted to stay as one country. This worried the southern states, and they were worried that as the United States expanded, they would get less power. They wanted the states to have more power and be able to make their own laws. One law in particular that the southern states were worried about was losing the right to enslave people to work on their land. Many northern states had outlawed slavery already, and so the southern states were worried that this meant the United States would outlaw slavery in all the states. This would create a huge restructure of the economy in the South, and they were worried that this was not doable. Abraham Lincoln was the president of the United States during the Civil War. He wanted a stronger federal government, and he was very much against slavery. The election of Abraham Lincoln is the event that triggered the southern states to secede, and this led up to the Civil War. Throughout all of this, Abraham Lincoln desired for the country to remain united. Unfortunately, fighting broke out in 1861 and lasted all the way until 1865. By the end of 1861, two major battlefronts had developed. There was the battlefront in the east that primarily took place in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia. And then there was the other battlefront, and this was in the west. And this battlefront started along the Mississippi River and spread from there. At the start of the war, President Lincoln wanted mainly to keep the United States together. Ending slavery was a secondary goal for him and not his main goal. This idea changed after the Battle of Antietam in 1862. The Union, which were the northern states, won this battle, which encouraged Lincoln to issue a statement called the Emancipation Proclamation. In this statement, he freed all enslaved people in the Confederate or the Southern states. As a result of this proclamation, many previously enslaved people joined the Union Army, providing reinforcement and strength to the North. Among the many large-scale battles that were fought during this war, there was also the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863. This battle is known because it claimed the combined lives of over 50,000 men for both sides. This is known as one of the most deadly, bloodiest battles in U.S. history, but it served an important purpose. It stopped the progression northward of the Confederate Army and halted their attempt to take control of the North. It also gave the Union Army the confidence it needed. Abraham Lincoln later proposed the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, and this amendment abolished the practice of enslavement throughout the entire nation. Unfortunately, Lincoln did not see the 13th Amendment come to fruition as he was assassinated just weeks after the main Confederate Army surrendered. The American Civil War ended in a Union victory after they defeated the Confederate Army and retook the Southern states in 1865. So you may be wondering what happened to the Southern states after the Union won. Well, there was then a period of rebuilding and repairing the nation from this devastation. If you think about it, during the Civil War, infrastructure, cities, ports, harbors, factories, farms, economics, businesses, politics, families, and almost every single person were impacted, destroyed, or damaged as a consequence of the war. It is also important to note that over 1 million men died fighting, and many civilians were caught up in the conflict. Politically, after the war and the South was defeated, those states were gradually allowed back into the United States. The South rebuilt all of the property that was damaged, and they had to really redo their economy so that it no longer depended on the labor of enslaved and not paid people. This period in history in the South was known as Reconstruction, and it lasted all the way up until April of 1877. And that's all we have for today. What I would like you to do is research more about the Civil War. Who were the main generals on each side, the Confederates and the Union? And how did they impact the war? So have fun researching the Civil War this week, and I will see you next week. On that note, remember to be kind, follow God's will, and take care.